Hi and welcome to one of my first solo videos for Devil's Brush Gaming, or DBG, it's what we've just been renamed. So my name's Christopher, I'm a bit of a 40k specialist and 30k where James does more of the bolt action stuff. Today is all about revamping your old models. With the invention of like improvements to static grass and the tufts that come out, I have a massive snow Beaky Marine army that's all used snow terrain by bicarbonate soda. The idea of this video is to really update that with two products that I've bought online, and there's no sponsorships or anything like that involved. This is just about sharing the hobby and the products I've bought, and I generally think they're pretty good. But through this video, it's actually going to be the first time that I use them, and I'll let you know how my thoughts are. If they're really rubbish, I'll probably not do more than 10 of the Marines of my company. If they're really good, then my whole Marine company will be revamped and look a little bit better than what it is at the moment. So I'll show you the products that I'm using today. So, like I said, the old Marine army was snowed up with bicarbonate soda. Yes, this was from Sainsbury's. It cost me less than £1. There's obviously loads of companies and loads of retail shops and things like that you can buy your bicarbonate soda. It's just a local store and it was really cheap, and I needed to update my models, and I really wanted to have snow terrain, but at the time I couldn't afford all the expensive static grass and tufts that all came out at the time, because this was probably over 6-7 years ago now I've had this army, and now everything has gone cheaper. So with that, one of the static grasses I've got is a 2mm static grass from one of the companies I just ordered on eBay. It was relatively cheap, it was under £5 and got quite a lot of it as well. I'll put links in the description if you do choose to use it, but there is so many other options out there now that you can use it. And the other one was from a company called Green Stuff World, which is the tufts. I really like the looks of these. I started using tufts on some of my other armies, and I really like them. I've seen quite a few on different Facebook groups that people were starting to recommend Green Stuff World, so I bought 2 lots of the tufts. That's it opened, and they come out as a nice little package, and have an instruction book as well about how you can put it on. It's also self-adhesive, so you can stick it straight to the bases. I probably won't do that, only because I'm going to be sticking parts of it on some of the static grass already, so I like to just secure the bond with some PVA glue. And like I said, these are some of the Marines that I used already, a couple running Marines, and as you can see, they're not too bad. The bicarbonate soda has lasted this long. I just really wanted to update it, and they're all Beakies. Even the guys that haven't got a Beaky have actually got a Beaky on their leg, as you can see for this guy. And there's a bit of a sort of tech theme to my army as well. As every single captain or something like that has type of fort as a power axe, and they're all slightly different. This is my take on a Raven Guard chapter, which I sort of look at the history, and I feel that they're sort of a side project from the Raptors chapter, and there's quite a lot to do with them. And like I say, I have a whole company's worth, and they're what I'm going to be updating today. I'm going to load a video of me doing this. Don't know how many I'm going to do. We'll get started. So I'm just going to do PVA glue, really simple, on the bits where the bicarbonate soda already is, and then sprinkle the static grass on there. Once that's dry, the idea then is adding the tufts in place, just to bring them up to the modern era and make them look pretty nice as well. This might be one of the armies that I'm going to use at a local gaming tournament. We're all thinking of going to a place called Chaos Cards. There's a tournament down there in sort of the weekend of Mother's Day. Me and James are going to go there, and we're trying to convince two of our friends that we game on a Friday with as well. It's a local fun tournament, not really high competitive, we don't think anyway. So let's get started on using the static grass. The first thing I do is break up all the balls and the clumps of static grass. I've just put it in a pot just an old Games Workshop static grass pot. I really recommend doing this because you can see it just becomes that little bit more finer, and it gets rid of all the lumps. The main reason for this is it'll make your models a lot better, because if you have little balls of static grass, it just doesn't look quite right, and the tufts won't be able to balance on those either. And the other thing is you get more for your money as well, because there is so much in a static grass box, that when it's compressed, it seems like there's not that much. So breaking it up actually gives you more for your money, and it's better for the model as well, and it'll look a lot better. So this is just one of my lieutenants. I've got, and all I'm doing is just going over where the bicarbonate soda was and just putting a little bit of PVA glue there. You can use a water spray mix of PVA glue if you really want to, if you don't have time for it. But as long as you have time, I thought actually just show you the full way. Once you finish, I tend to do one model at a time when doing this. You can see already it's looking a vast improvement. Just that little bit of static grass, it's just changing the dynamic a little bit. I'll get another model that's very similar so we can compare as well what the bicarbonate soda will look like. When I first did the bicarbonate soda, it did look really good, but just over time it can go a little bit yellowish, which is obviously not what you want on snow. And using this will just make it look fresh all the time. So there's a model that's very similar. As you can see, just the static grass will just help pick it up and make it look a little bit cleaner and look a little bit better as a snow effect as well. I'm going to do all the other models, and then I'm just going to work through them all. I'm going to do probably, well, by looking at that already, I know full well I'm going to do the whole army of static grass. The tufts, I'm not too sure yet. They look really nice, but I'll have to see what it looks like on a model that's dry first. So again, I'll just do the next lieutenant. It's very similar to the other one. The combat shield, but I tend to count them as storm shields if I'm honest, just because I like the look of them. Find the storm shields just look a little bit too big on these models, and yet I definitely need to update these models on the bigger bases. But to be honest, the tournaments that I go to, they don't mind you using the old bases, especially if it's an old army, which is quite nice. All my newer armies at the moment, I am doing on the 32mm bases, which is taking its time, but they'll look good as well. So again, just going round. Once I've done it, just give it a little bit of tap, place away. So now just moving on to my apocryphy. In 7th edition, this squad used to be my command squad, which is obviously now in 8th, all broken down into their own separate characters. So obviously lieutenants, which is stuff's done before. They are now HQs, which can come in squads of 2, which is not too bad, and they're not that many points either, and give quite a nice bonus. And the apocryphy has moved into the elites. You use a bit too much PVA glue, so if you do, just give it a little brush off. You can still work with static grass once it's a little bit PVA glued, but not too much. And it is snowing, so there isn't too bad if you do get some on the model, but especially when it comes to snow, obviously all the other types of textures out there, such as normal green grass, you need to be extra careful when you're placing it, because it's almost the last thing you do is the static grass. You've painted your base, you painted on the model nice and lovely. The last thing you want to do is to get static grass all over that nice model. It sort of just wrecks that final touch. secret of static grass is don't use too much. Don't make it the main focus of the model, in my opinion. You want them to pick up the model, appreciate the fact that you spent some time on the basin. And important thing, they're appreciating the time that you spent on the actual model and building, the converting that you've done. There's quite a nice little touches on this model as well. You want them to appreciate the actual paint you've done as well. This was actually painted by James. It's one of the first armies I actually paid for him to do. And then I got asked to go up to Warhammer World and get it photographed as well. Back in the day when I used to help out in youth tournaments. Used to have quite a successful youth team, which I love taking part in. This is one of my masters. Just brings it up, and this is actually from one of the chapter masters. The head itself is actually a high elf head, and he used to have a high elf army. I used to just swap and change some of the heads for the marine heads, because I found you didn't really get that many options in the marine head army, so I used to find that some of the elf heads were just a perfect size and able to update all the other heads and just make it look a bit different. Painting faces is bugbear at the best times, but painting the same faces all the time is annoying, so just adding variety. Obviously now in the marine kits you can get so many faces, so you can really mix and match the different heads, but most people only use the plain faces on sergeants. I tend to mix it in an army, and some I don't use any plain heads at all. I had a Sisters of Battle army that was quite big. It was just didn't use any plain heads in that army at all. I managed to get all the metal one-piece heads or one-piece models then that all had the helmets, generally because I really hated painting faces. So and I really like Sisters of Battle, and that was the best way of avoiding it, really, just getting loads of plain heads, plain one piece models with all the metal done. Really good to know what you guys are working on, and post in the comments, tell me what type of things you're doing, want any advice on painting, building, even army lists. What sort of things would you use to come up against certain things, different lists. It's always interesting to know what you guys are up to. Hi, so this is the command squad done, or most of my HQs, and two of my elites, and my first squad of Marines done. And see, they're actually not too bad. Once it's dry, I'll be able to sort out all the edges. In tape by the Marine Army, they are all beakies, and each bolter in the whole company is actually a Death Watch bolter. If you're wondering where I've got some of the shoulder pads, some of them are actually sculpted by myself, as I made a mould and then sculpted some individually, and then after that I've got some that's very similar off some very random website that I can't even remember, and that is the 3 lieutenants banner, ancient apocryphy, and my master. I really like how this stack grass actually turned up. Gonna probably do Terminator squad now, and then I'll probably do some on a tank as well. So I'll let you see how I go on that. So back to do my Terminator squads. So this is just a normal Terminator squad with Thunder Hammers, Storm Shield, and the shoulder pads are actually some of the Forge World shoulder pads. I think they are Mentors, I want to say, as they come out originally, but they are just Eagle ones now, I believe. They're quite nice, some of the Forge World shoulder pads I find for Terminators. What I did do when I first started this army, I actually bought metal shoulder pads to go with the Marines because they had the Eagles on, and I thought they were really good. Unfortunately, they were just a little bit smaller than the other shoulder pad, with the plastic ones that you fit on both sides, and it just didn't quite look right when I saw them and when I built them, so I ended up getting rid of all the metal shoulder pads for someone who was just going to purely do metal shoulder pads. But I only wanted the eagle on one side, I didn't want any other sculptings on the other side. And that's what ended up me actually sculpting some of the eagles myself, which was a little bit of pain at the start and a steep learning curve because I hadn't really sculpted that much before, but so I really like how it turned out, and it was my first time I said that I ever sculpted. I just looked on a lot of YouTube videos, and some of the staff in Games Workshop. Luckily for me, I was at Winchester, and one of the guys there was really good at sculpting, and some of the customers there as well. Some of the vets and stuff gave me some really good tips. And I do recommend giving these things a go. You know, you're not gonna damage your model if you practice sculpting. The way I practice, I've just got some normal green stuff and just practiced on some old models, some of them easy fix Marines I used to get in like all the 40k starter box sets, like the McCrag set, which you can pick up those Marines really cheaply on eBay. I think you can even pick up 10 for about £4 or £5. So if you ever want to practice sculpting, I recommend practicing on those type of models, just because it gives you a sense of realisation of what it really like. Some people say practice first of all on some baking powder and baking paper. I find when I did that and transferred into something that was 3D, I didn't get the hang of it straight away like I did when I originally did it on the baking paper. So my recommendation is go straight to a model, just start sculpting all over it, you know, capes, wire, whatever, heads. So some of my beakies are not actually the plastic beakies that you get or used to just get on the Salt Marine sprue, or in the Marine box. You never used to get one. So obviously having a whole Beaky Company used to be quite expensive because I'm buying it on bits or buying it through that or through box at a time, which I don't recommend. Essentially, it was just one box for one head. Becomes very pricey as a whole army. So I learned to sculpt, and I sculpt from the shoulder pads. I leveled up, as it were, felt more confident, and then I started sculpting the heads as well. So it actually took me a long time to finish this army, building it, let alone getting it painted, because I always wanted to get it done because I knew it was going to be one of my first complete companies that I had. So I wanted to make sure it looked right and finished. And this is one of my Terminator Sergeant. And yes, I know you can't have two Thunder Hammers, but I like doing those little touches and conversions. So obviously it's a left and a right-handed Thunder Hammer in there. Really simple conversion actually, just cutting away on the left hand it was, left hand, and just changing connections over with the power with the Thunder Hammer. See, there's not much you can tell it's actually changed, and it looks quite nice I think. It's actually good just for a sergeant, just to make it look that little bit different. And then my army is obviously, I say obviously, not many people have seen this model, which is the Tech Marine Special Edition, which came with a White Dwarf, or should I say it Squats? I did say it. They're all dead. Squats are all dead. But this is one of the remaining ones that's in this army. And I like this model. I really do like this model. He's just holding up a goblin with his other arm. Got his version of a Thunder Hammer there, and an old school helmet as well. Do you like him? Yeah, just a little bit update with static grass. Just changed it quite a lot. And the next I'm going to do is my Razorback. Again, these are full draw turret with heavy bolters. You'll see an 8th heavy bolters are okay, but when you can have twin linked assault cannon, even though the points have gone up from chapter approved, he's so good. So many shots and a -1 as well, and better strength. I think assault cannon, twin linked assault cannon is the way to go on a Razorback, and allows cannons in your squads actually, or missile launchers, just have that tank hitting power where the tanks can shoot out the horde and actually really easily defend themselves against horde. So I'm going to do some static grass on the front and along here as well, rather than painting snow. I think just to have that contrast in the army as well, I'll do some static grass along the sides. So I'm not doing over much, just a little bit on the top. Don't want to have a lot in there because obviously it's going to be moving. Snow's not going to stay that much. You can imagine it's unloaded its squad. Let's just add that little bit of texture at the bottom. So I think that's quite good. The key is not to match it perfectly on the other side. I find a lot of people when they do static grass on tanks and things like that, they tend to paint whatever's on one track the same on the other, which obviously doesn't work because that's not what would happen. For normal static grass, I tend not to do this effect. A little bit more on the actual model itself there. I tend to prefer a rust effect on the bottom, or dirt, or painting of dirt effect. I tend not to do a static grass effect on the actual bases. But as it's snow, it sort of makes sense where it's fallen. I might come back in the future. So that's it, just round the sides. Just add those. I might come back in the future and actually do some on the top, just to add the fact that they've been fighting in a really snowy conditions. Oh. Let's show you how all that looks together. Because those Terminators are done, the Tech Marine and the tank. So here we go, guys. There's the Terminators. You can see there's quite a lot of static grass over my workstation, but it'll all be tidy soon. Really like the effect. Little bits on the terrain, a little bit of scenery on the terrain, and then the snow effect through. And obviously where the static grass isn't heavy enough to cover up what's underneath, especially on this model, the Bucko has just gone brown underneath, so I'll put like extra tufts on there, and once it's dry I'll go back over it and might add some more static grass as well. What you don't want to do is paint PVA glue over the static grass, because it will just matte the thing that's underneath and it will just leave a nasty effect. There's the tank as well, just adding that little extra texture where it's been going. I quite like that a lot. And obviously the guys I've done so far on the top. So yeah, it's not taken me too long to complete all that, and it's a nice come along. So what I'm going to do now is just work on the rest of the army, and I'll show you a little picture or a little video of every 10 that I've done, just so you can see my progress. There's my second squad of my tactical marines. I have Sergeant with power axe, special weapon of melt gun, and heavy weapon of multi-melter. See, snow effect all complete. Really liking how these marines are turning up, just upgrading from the Bucko Bonnet Soda to the static grass and the snow. And let's start working on my next squad as well. And next squad complete. Actually doing these quite a lot faster than what I thought I would, just because I really recommend the static grass. Actually, yeah, it's a company I'll probably use again and again, just based on their snow static grass. So obviously we have our sergeant and power fist, our flamer, and our missile launcher, which I find is probably one of the best combinations at the moment in 8th. Personally, if you're worried about points, or if you really want to go for the heavy hit, go for the las cannon. And we just got a little bit of character in the squads as well, just by a guy having double pistol. Obviously who doesn't have double pistol in the game, but just adds a bit of variety. Let's see all the guys behind, obviously I've finished as well, and they're all drying nicely. They're probably not that far away from having tufts complete as well, just because of the way the static grass really does soak up the PVA glue. And let's move on to the next squad, tactical squad number 4. And here's tactical squad number 4 completed. So the sergeant has power axe, and I have special weapon of plasma gun, heavy weapon of plasma cannon. You see they're all still marked with the Deathwatch bolters. Most of this squad is all with the sculpted shoulder pads, and 2 of these marines are actually with sculpted heads as well, if you can tell which ones, and take a guess. I'd like to hear your comments, see which heads you think are personally sculpted and which ones are Games Workshop. And come back, we'll see the 5th squad. And here's the 5th squad done. Sergeant has power fist, special weapon and plasma gun, special and heavy bolter, and a good mix and match of different colours, with the hawk turquoise blue
and the Chaos Black as well, just to add variance in the command squad. As you can see, as a squad they all look unified, but pretty much almost every single Marine has some type of unique colour system going in, you know, whether it's one leg painted, one arm, definitely that's something that's common. So all the shoulder pads tend to be Hawk, but there is a couple that have the black, just to add that variety within the main squad, and the overall look and theme of the army. So here we go, is my 6th and final tactical squad. And we have the sergeant with a power sword, special weapon melter, heavy weapon with a las cannon. There's a couple of variants of positions, some guys kneeling down, and this chap here just throwing a grenade as well. If anything, this just reminds me that I can actually throw a grenade, because it's not on the model or in a squad, I tend to forget. So just having one illustrate that, I just find that I just gentle reminder myself, and it is so useful now to do in Overwatch, and that's why I like adding guys with pistols and stuff like that in as well. Just remind myself that I can actually shoot with a pistol in close combat in the shooting phase. Guy with a knife there, just remember, just to add that difference in the squad positioning as well. So again, that is all of them so far. I'm going to move on to the Devastators now, and I'll just do some actual footage of me doing it, just in case you've missed anything that I've done, and just see how things and how your projects are going too.
Hi, so let's start on the Devastators. So this Devastator squad is 5-man Devastator squads with 2 las cannons and 2 missile launchers as well. Obviously now innate that you can split fire. I do really rate this as a squad. Gives the advantage of always being able to hit through tanks, and in case someone is playing a little bit of a horde based army, you've got the alternative to actually shoot the missile launchers at them as well. It'll be probably my last squad that I'll do tonight, and I'll upload the video, and then part 2 I'll continue with the rest of them and talk about and actually add the toughs as well. Also part of part 2, we're gonna Devil's Rush Gaming, we're actually gonna start doing more competitions. This will be like giveaways, the usual stuff. Subscribe, like on the YouTube channel, and on the Facebook page. So if you do that already, brilliant. If you don't, we'd really appreciate you if you do. We're just trying to expand, and the more people we get to follow the channel and like the Facebook page, just means that, one, it's support, and it proves to us that you actually like what we're doing, and we can make more videos for doing it. And the other as well is it's always nice to get your comments. So if you have any comments or anything you really want to talk about, ideally about the hobby, and we'll reply back to the comments as well. And this is almost all my Devastators done. I'll just change the camera angle, and then we'll call it a day.
So here's my Devastators closer up. So obviously we have the Sergeant, 2 las cannons and 2 missile launchers, both in different poses, and also have different backs as well, just to change it up a little bit. Las cannons are pretty much the same to what las cannons, just in a slightly different position.
Well, thank you for tuning in to our channel and watching this video all the way through if you've made it this far. This is part 1, just showing about the stack grass and general hobby chat as well. Part 2 is going to be me updating with the toughs, and talking about the hobby, but also really exciting is I'm going to be talking about our next competition as well. We're going to be giving away a painted model for one of the systems that we do play, So please check out that as well. Do all the YouTubey stuff, like, subscribe, share, join us on Facebook as well and do the same. So that's me out. Happy hobbying.